I thought I would do something different today, a little bit. It's the week before Christmas now, but you won't be seeing this until after Christmas. And, hello? No, I need you to move, please. Don't cheat on the table. Don't you do it. I was thinking about my new year this week in general. I'm kind of like getting in that headspace. I have a lot to do in the house today. I am kind of regrouping the house before we leave to go out of town for some of the holiday. And I just want to get everything reset. I need to wrap some presents. I need to clean some dishes. There's just a lot on my to-do list today. So I thought a fun thing to do would be to go over my thoughts on my past year as I do those things. And I thought I had a big document of goals that I had written, but I either did that on paper or I didn't do it at all, like in my Google Drive, because I cannot find it. So normally what we try to do is write out lists of goals and aspirations in like a Google Doc so it's easily accessible throughout the year. Sometimes we reference it throughout the year and sometimes we don't. Like, it's just to get it all out on paper and just have that way you have it top of mind as you're going to the year. This year, I really thought we did that. Point is, I can't find it, or maybe I did it on paper and goodness knows which notebook that's in now. I still want to process through these things. So instead, I'm going to take each category of goals that I do and kind of just talk about them freely. So the 5 categories that I have for goals generally are God/faith. That's number 1 for me. That's where everything starts. Relationships. That's not just my relationship with my husband, but also like friendships that I like want to pour into, what I want to do differently and how I want to connect with people better. Career, which is obviously my job and like how I'm making money. Hobbies/passions/skills. That's all kind of in one conglomerate. I try to keep the pressure off. I used to have a lot of pressure on myself in terms of what I was good at and how I would combine that into a career. But especially this year, I really want to make sure that that is just pressure free because I want to be creative in that and I don't want to feel the pressure of making money from the things that I love. So I'm really working on that. I'm really healing from that mindset myself. And then the last one is household. So like projects I want to do in the house, things I want to do to keep the house better, things I want to do to clean better, things like really like logistical kind of things. It's possible I'm going to think of another category throughout the day, but I think those are my main like things. Hopefully this will just be a cozy fun time. And you can pretend I'm FaceTiming you while I'm cleaning my house, because it's always great to have a FaceTime friend when you're cleaning the house. You can clean your house too. We can talk about your goals. So I'm going to unload and load my dishes while I talk about God and faith. So I'm going to go in order. I'll talk about God and faith. I am a worship leader at my church. We also lead a small group, and I am very passionate about fellowship and the like. We're very active in our church. We have a lot of different groups that we try to be a part of. I don't know if rating my past year in terms of these categories is helpful or toxic. I don't know. Maybe, I think depending on who you are, it could be motivating. For me, I feel like it's a good way to quantify how I feel about the year currently. So I'm going to do it. So a rating that I am going to give, I'm going to give my faith walk and just like how I want to pursue God a rating of, I feel like I would, okay, well, I guess we're watching that lid. This video relied way too heavily on me being able to multitask than is possible. I think I would give my execution of my goals that I can't find written down, but I like know what I had in my head, which was just to do more consistent study in the Word, find better, deeper studies that I can do and stick with them, and then also just have a good group of like girls in faith that I can have fellowship with and accountability with. The second one is a work in progress. I was in a really good female small group in 2023, and then that one just kind of naturally came to an end. And then I felt like I was good to take a break because I was doing some different like other things and was trying to get involved in some other groups. And then those groups kind of came to an end as well, a little earlier than I anticipated. And they weren't filling me up in any way. All that to say, I don't even know if I said anything. I am going to endeavor this year to really work on finding a solid group of women in faith, because that is something I felt has been missing for the last 6 months. And I am really looking to bring that back in my life. It's really life-giving me to have a group for just good encouragement. I have a lot of good girlfriends, but a lot of them aren't in town, so they're not a part of my immediate faith community. I guess that's a good succinct way to put it, is I really want to work on my immediate faith community of women. So that's my goal. My other goal is to just continue to work on my quiet time. I feel like that is just ongoing for every believer that I know. If you're a believer who has nailed their quiet time routine and has a hack for just keeping it at the top of mind where it should be, please tell me. Oh, I was gonna rate this. If I were gonna rate that category on how I feel about it for 2024, I would probably give it a 6. We can definitely get better. I want that community to be tighter around me. This kind of plays into relationships as well. I just want to be able to pour into women of faith, and I want to have more of that encouragement in my life. So that's something I'm still working on, is finding those groups. I'm going to do these dishes because there's literally no way you'll be able to hear me while I'm doing dishes. So this year has been a really complicated one for hobbies, passions, and skills. A lot of you may not know this because I literally never talk about it, probably out of a place of insecurity. But I am a musician. I went to school for music. I am a singer. I am, in theory, a songwriter. There's this insecurity again. But I have an album out, and I put it out in college, so a good long time ago now. And it was what it was. I didn't have a huge budget. It was technically part of a graded project, and I was really passionate about the lyrics that I was writing, but not about the production. I think the production was really well done for what it was at the time, but I would redo it all if I had the chance. So in the last almost decade, I've been writing new music and trying to find my sound and write, and that is just something that I have really struggled with for a really long time. I'm 90% sure, unless it was a goal from the year before, in which case also yikes. I wrote down this year that I wanted to finish out the year with my second album written, complete songs completed, writing wise, not production wise, but just have demos ready to send to people. Here we are, December 2024. I have written maybe half of 2 songs that I really like. I still consider myself a musician, bottom line, end of the day. But, most other musicians around are either actively writing or actively performing in other places besides their church or, whatever. So, and that's something I used to consider my career that has now been kind of put in the passion box. And that's not really because I'm less passionate about it. It's more because I'm more passionate about it and I want to give it the space it needs for my creativity to actually flourish. I don't want to put the pressure on myself to make it a career like I used to, because I feel like that is what has stifled my creativity over all of these years. The thing for the rating for this category, though, it's not just having to do with music. It's having to do with all the skill sets and all the passions and hobbies that I've wanted to get into. So I'm actually going to rate it an 8 out of 10 for a couple of reasons. So the first reason is I really wanted to get back into being around horses this year. That was a big goal of mine. I started volunteering at a nonprofit near me, which is an equine assisted mentorship ranch called Freedom Reins in Columbia. And I just love them. Now that I'm in it, I could not be more grateful that I got involved with that organization. Has been so life-giving to me this year. And so I am just really grateful that I reignited that passion I have for horses. I always say I know just enough about horses to be dangerous. I'm still learning. I'm not a great rider, but I love being around them. The second reason is fairly recent. I have become a barista, which I consider to be more of a hobby passion than a career, even though currently, obviously, it's a job. That's more of like a thing I've always wanted to do. And so when I got laid off from my job in September, I knew that was something that felt right as I was building my freelance business. I knew I also wanted to be a barista. It was the side hustle barista era was imminent. It was inevitable. So I'm just really proud of myself for learning a new skill and enjoying it and just like being outside of my box in that way. I've really loved that. I'm trying to think if there's any other hobbies or passions. I mean, this content creation has been a passion of mine for over a decade, and I feel like this is the year that I've really embraced it. Last year was pretty good too. I came out with 24 videos, which I was feeling pretty good about. And then this year I had my most viewed video of all time, and that was also really encouraging. And I also started a local page for short form content in my city. So that was a big goal of mine. I feel like I've kind of come into my own for content, and I've just been really grateful for that as well. I feel like I've really mastered the art of giving myself freedom to learn new things this year. Paddleboarding, that was the other big thing I picked up. I know a lot of girls on social media have just been in their like hobby era, and I love that that's a trend. Like, it's kind of sad that it has to be a trend for people to realize that they can just do things they want to do. But I'm glad that people are rediscovering like, oh, like I can just paint if I want to, or I can just craft if I want to. One thing I realized is that I've had a lot of time on my hands since I lost my job. Point is, I'm a big hobby gal, big skills gal, I'm like really excited about my passion. I feel like I'm finally in a position. I think my job was really hindering my creativity, and that is an excuse. Like, it shouldn't matter. I think finally I'm back in the correct headspace to start writing good music again and really just marinate the pressure, and the pressure's off. Like, there's nothing at stake. I can just write. And I think my goal for this next year in that is to find that rhythm and find that comfort that I used to have in writing and music, and like that catharsis, and just find it again. Okay, I have the washer and dryer running, and because I've done a ton of laundry. I'm about to wrap some more gifts. I have about 8 more gifts to wrap, which is crazy because I've wrapped a ton already, and I've never feel like I have that many to buy at the beginning, but I have about 8 more gifts to wrap. So I'm going to do that. The last 2 categories are career and household. So career is something that's interesting because I have not had any career goals in like 5 years, because I was working in the same job for 5 years. And so I was just kind of cruising, like didn't really think much about it. Wasn't really, other than like maybe wanting to get a new job. I know I have more that goes in this gift. What bag am I missing? I didn't have any sort of goals associated with that other than just knowing I wanted to get out of my current situation. This year, that solution was found for me. That step was taken for me because I just got laid off. I didn't really achieve anything. It was just the next logical step just happened. So because of that because that all worked out in my favor, although obviously I would have preferred to have a job lined up, now I actually have career aspirations because I'm creating my own career with like nothing but my own business for the first time in my life. At any other time I've been operating my own business, it's been somewhat of a side hustle. Now I am just looking to start from scratch as a freelancer, start from the ground up with like literally nothing else. That's obviously a little intimidating, and I just want to make sure that I'm doing things right. So I'm kind of working on that mentality of like knowing that if I just stick to it and I have that consistency, then it will work. All that to say, we're talking about the last year right now, not this upcoming year. So the last year, a third of that I've spent having been laid off, and so far that's been amazing. And I love the space I'm in. I think, like I said, it's opened me up in a lot of ways. So all of that is just to say, if I were to rate my year in a career sense, then I would probably give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Not because the majority of my year felt good, but because this last fourth of the year really made up for everything. I have just felt like a new woman since I was able to leave my other jobs. My point is, I think it's gonna be possibly a 10 out of 10 next year. I think I'm on this trajectory that I'm really excited about, and I'm just feeling so free creatively and passionately and career-wise. So I'm just really, really thrilled about that. I just picked up this rug, so what better time to talk about household goals than while I'm unwrapping this rug. I'm constantly learning about household management, and I am not by any means the expert, especially since I don't have any kids, but I think I am very organized of a person. I like having things in order, although you can't tell from my house right this moment, but it is important to me to have a cozy, clean space to be in. Household is a thing that I just kind of implemented as a category. We've always talked about projects that we want to finish in a year, and I must say, I feel like we probably would rate that at a 4 out of 10, just because we're talking about renovating our garage, doing a sort of extra movie room situation, and we kind of had to put that on pause because we were needing to dedicate money to other things, which is kind of just how that happens. Overall, our motivation for projects like that is weirdly low. We get motivated periodically to do those things, and then we don't do them. I would say we're not big house project people. We are big concept people. So really we need to be the type of people that can afford to just call a contractor and do it for us. On paper, this year would be a I didn't know there was anything in there. I think on paper overall, house projects and management, I would put myself at a 5 out of 10 with management. I feel like there's a lot more I can be doing to keep the house in order. And there's a lot more I want to do to keep it cozy. Because when I have kids, I want to be the house where people can just bring their friends over, and I don't want to be insecure about how I I really like this. I like this rug. I just want my house to be a cozy space, and I want everything to be clean enough that, I really like this, you guys, that I'm feeling fine to have anyone drop in if someone needs to come out and spill their feelings on my couch, or if my kids' friends want to come over and I want to make them snacks. And, I want to have a rhythm enough that not that the house will always be clean, because that I think is completely unrealistic, but I want to be able to just have a cozy space for not just others, but myself, because I really find that I can't function if my house isn't a certain level of clean. And at certain moments, obviously, I have to resign myself that it's a work in progress and it's in flux. But for the most part, when this is all done, I'm going to feel so accomplished, I'm going to feel so good and so productive. So really all I'm trying to say is just that's something I'm working on, and I don't think I'm at the peak of it yet. And then as soon as I think I'm at the peak of it is when I'm inevitably gonna have kids. Okay, I'm gonna finish this, and then we're gonna get into our goal setting for next year. I feel like this is my size. I'm 5'11". There's no way that's 7. All right, well, maybe it works. Well, I at least know what the color scheme looks like. I picked up coffee at the shop that I work at, and I gave them the most complicated order. I've been making myself this gingerbread drink recently. It's quite complex. So in light of all the things that we've talked about, I wanted to sit down and write out my goals for 2025 in each category. So this is not super complicated. This is not there's probably more realizations that are going to come to me, and I'm going to type all of this up, unlike I apparently did last year, and try to actually go back and reference it. I am just going to go over each one and write out just kind of what my goals are. Under God/faith, I think the most succinct way I can put the God/faith like needs/desires is just for me to say that I want to curate faith-based community. I just realized I totally forgot a category, which was health. Really quick, I do have health as a category, and I'm going to add it right now because it really needs to be a priority for me personally. I have a lot of health things going on. Not all of them are like super urgent, but some of them are just ongoing, and I need to really stay on top of my appointments this year. So I guess technically I have 6 categories. If I were to rate my health journey and attentiveness this past year, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 10 because I know I need to be more attentive and there's a lot of appointments I need to schedule. But going back up to the top for God and faith, I should put local because that's also important. I have really good friends that live out of town or like just far enough that it's not like I'm seeing them every day of the week or a few times a week. And so I just really want to curate this a more of a local group where I can lead a Bible study or be a part of a Bible study or a small group that can feed into those goals. And that's something like that's really tricky because you don't want to force it, but you also need to kind of stay after it and be open to asking people if they want to be a part of something like that. So that is probably one of my biggest goals in that department. My other one just continuously being daily quiet time. For skills, hobbies, and passions, I want to be reconnected with my music and I want to write. And I say that every year, but I do think this year is different because I have been freed up so much by my life changes that I really feel like I can get back into that groove. And part of this exercise for me is to learn not to be so hard on myself because I think it's really important to learn whether you're someone who is hindered by really strict goals or if someone who's made more productive by really strict goals. I have found that I am not someone who does really well under really strict goals because I just beat myself up or I set them unattainably high. So I feel like it's better for me to just at least start by integrating these things that I want to do just into my lifestyle. So instead of like a goal of finishing my album, which was my goal a couple years ago, my goal now is just going to be write every day. But my goal needs to be the steps and not like the step above the step. On the flip side of that, this next one is really kind of aspirational, pretty big. My Instagram account that I've been growing with content creation is just 500 followers right now, about 550. And I would like to grow it to 10,000 in the next year. And I think that's slightly more attainable, but there's just really no way to tell. Because a lot of times in social media, you can work really hard and that does not directly equate. If I put it under career, it's going to feel a lot more like a make or break for the year. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I think it would just be a nice thing to aspire to this year. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to become a ranch assistant at the barn that I work at, the nonprofit that I mentioned. That's just an attainable goal because that's like the logical next step in the volunteer chain. So I'm going to work up to that, do the next little trainings that I need to do to get to that point. I go back and forth with whether having loose goals for this channel is productive. I think I would like to, I don't know what my goals for this channel are. I'm going to be so for real. This is just an outlet. And I think it's important to remember that it is okay to have things that are just outlets. Obviously, I would be so overjoyed if this became a career somehow, like just this YouTube channel. But I don't have any goals oriented with this channel in particular. I really just enjoy making this content, in case you were wondering. That's why I don't have any goals with this channel. So household, one of the things that I want to continuously do is laundry once a day. That is something that clearly you've seen has not been in effect this week. I have tried to implement that a lot this year, and it does really help if you do a load of laundry a day. I think I want to implement a cleaning schedule. So as much as possible, like every afternoon when I get home from whatever work I'm doing, I want to have like daily tasks. Like I vacuum on these 2 days, or I do a deep clean of the kitchen on this day of the week. I think it would be good for me to go ahead and start implementing that. Career is a really funny one. I don't know really were to start with it, I feel like I've restarted my whole career from scratch this end of this year. I think that I want to make the goal of securing 4 clients monthly, which could mean 4 clients that are just on retainer monthly for the whole year, or just 4 clients total monthly. So like I have one client they're just doing like a batch of content for the month. They're not recurring, but I just get another one for the next month, if that makes sense. Another goal of mine in my business is to create content for my city. I just really want to be able to collaborate with tourism. I think I don't know why I've become weirdly passionate about that over the last few years. As I've mentioned, I just love my community. And so I really would love to create directly with the city at some point. I have a goal of securing at least 6 paid ads on my Muletown Moments page, which is my like Columbia local vlog page. So then that brings us to relationships and health. Relationships are obviously more conceptual. I don't think I should put hard and fast goals under relationships, but they also, again, kind of tie into the faith goals that I have. So one that I have for relationships is just be in a small group. I'm very social already, so it's not like I have to super push myself to do those things. I just want to make sure that I am keeping things top of mind in terms of like pouring into people and encouraging them and different stuff like that. So I want to work on finding more ways to encourage my friends in the everyday, and that doesn't have to be things you spend money on. I think it's just the little ways that you help them out, like writing them letters or encouraging notes, sending them little gifts when you're thinking of them. That is something I want to implement in my life more often, and so that is just kind of the conceptual goal as well under relationships. Getting really technical into health for a second, I have a tendency to cancer. So my mom battled stage 4 ovarian cancer. I have the same genes. It's something that I'm working on to kind of create a preventative plan. And part of that is to find a natural oncologist in town. My other main goal is to switch my health insurance because, again, I've not completed that. I also really want to focus on cycle syncing. So that applies to like how I work out, how I eat, and like there's other supplements and things that you can take at certain times in your cycle that will help you. And I really want to become more well-versed on that this year. I don't really have anything workout associated on there because for the first time, I do. I lied. I so lied. So I was going to say for the first time, I'm really happy with my workout routine, which is true. I've been going to sauna workouts very consistently ever since I started there in February. So almost a whole year. And I love it. I love my sauna workout studio. It is so flexible and wonderful and peaceful. I've never been so obsessed with the way I've worked out in my whole life. I do want to add strength training to that though. I've definitely gotten stronger, but there are some areas that I just really want to get some more strength in, like my arms. So I do want to implement a strength training plan to my workout plan. So I did add that on here. That's kind of like the overview of my goal planning process. And I know it was not like a super complex process, but I just felt like sharing it with you. And I hope it encouraged you if you are also trying to set goals for 2025. It's not too late, even if it's just like the first week or whenever this gets posted. It's never too late to start goal setting. I have been doing something similar to this for the last few years, and a lot of times Caleb and I will sit and do it together, and I really enjoy that. And I think it's really important to like share your goals with people who love you because they'll hold you accountable because they love you. That's also a big thing, is like don't be afraid to share your goals with people so that they can hold you accountable. I think accountability is just a really big thing. Oh, I did want to share one more thing about this planner. If you like it, which I really do, genuinely. I found this planner and then I got a discount code from them, so it wasn't like I was gifted this or anything. I bought it. So this is a Not Koi planner. I'll put the link in the description, but I do have a code for them, and it is all caps AB-Mary Catherine. Put it in the description so you don't have to think about how to spell Catherine. I am going to do a few more house cleaning things because it's still not completely done. If you have any goals, feel free to share them with me in the comment. Yeah, I hope this is a fun chatty structure for everyone. I have never done a video like this before, so I thought it was kind of fun. So yeah, I'll see you later.